Welcome back to Notes of Curiosity, exploring ideas that matter. I'm Alex.
And I'm Eve.
Today we'll be exploring Joseph Campbell's The Hero with a Thousand Faces.
All right.
This book is a deep dive into mythology and the hero's journey. And it's had a huge impact on how we understand storytelling and even ourselves.
Right.
So what's so special about this book?
So Campbell was a mythologist who saw a pattern in hero stories from around the world.
Oh, wow.
A pattern he called the monomyth.
Okay.
It's the idea that heroic tales, no matter where they come from, follow a similar structure.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
It really suggests that there's something universal about these stories.
Right.
Something that resonates across cultures and time.
Exactly.
So it's more than just entertainment then.
And that's what makes Campbell's work so compelling.
Okay.
He argues that these myths aren't just entertaining stories. They're reflections of our collective human experience.
Okay.
Our hopes, fears, and aspirations.
So before we journey further into the monomyth itself, can you tell us a little more about Joseph Campbell?
Of course.
Who was he?
Joseph Campbell wasn't just a scholar.
Well,
He was a gifted storyteller who brought mythology to life for a wide audience.
okay.
He was fascinated by the power of myth
Yeah.
to illuminate the human condition.
I've heard he even influenced George Lucas and the creation of Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Is that true?
Lucas has acknowledged Campbell's influence, particularly the idea of the hero's journey, which is central to the Star Wars saga.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the heart of it then.
Sure.
What exactly is this monomyth?
Yeah.
How does it work?
Campbell breaks the monomyth, or the hero's journey, into three main stages: departure,
Okay.
initiation, and return.
Okay, so 3 stages.
It's a cycle that begins with a call to adventure,
Okay.
leads the hero through a series of trials,
Yeah.
and ultimately ends with their return, transformed to the ordinary world.
Can you give us an example of how this plays out in a specific myth? Maybe just one.
Think of Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods and brought it to humanity.
Prometheus.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a classic departure.
Okay.
He leaves the realm of the gods and ventures into the unknown
Yeah.
to benefit mankind.
Oh, wow.
But of course, there are consequences.
Yeah, he was punished by Zeus, right?
Yes.
Chained to a rock with an eagle eternally feasting on his liver.
Exactly.
That's brutal.
And that punishment represents the challenges and sacrifices that often come with answering the call.
Okay.
The hero often has to face danger,
Yeah.
pain, and even death
Wow.
to achieve their goal.
So Prometheus's theft of fire is the call to adventure,
Yeah,
and his punishment is part of the initiation phase.
you got it.
Okay.
And his eventual release, which
Okay.
varies depending on the telling, represents the return,
Okay.
though in his case it's more a symbolic return. As his gift of fire continues to benefit mankind,
Right. Good.
other myths,
Yeah.
like Jason's quest for the Golden Fleece,
Okay.
Aeneas's journey to the underworld, or even Buddha's path to enlightenment,
Wow.
all follow this basic structure.
So they all follow this 3-part structure.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think how these ancient stories
Right.
from different cultures and times
Yeah.
share such a similar framework.
It really is.
Yeah.
And Campbell would argue that this points to a fundamental truth
Okay.
about the human experience.
Okay.
We all face challenges. We all undergo transformations.
Yeah.
And we all seek meaning and purpose in our lives.
I'm starting to see why this book has been so influential.
Right.
It offers a way of understanding not just mythology, but ourselves.
Exactly.
And one of the most fascinating aspects of Campbell's work
Yeah.
is his exploration of the connection between myths and dreams.
Right?
Oh, that's interesting. I've always been intrigued by dreams. What does Campbell have to say about them?
He calls myths public dreams
Okay.
and dreams private myths.
Oh,
He suggests that both serve a similar function
okay.
to reveal the unconscious forces
Yeah.
that shape our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors.
So myths are like collective dreams that express universal human experiences,
Right.
while our personal dreams reflect our individual journeys and struggles.
Precisely.
Okay.
Campbell argues that by understanding the symbolism and archetypes
Okay.
present in both myths and dreams, we can gain valuable insights into ourselves and the human psyche.
So looking for those connections between myths and dreams can help us understand ourselves better.
Right.
He uses some pretty vivid examples in the book to illustrate this point.
He does. Remember the man who dreamt of reshingling a roof and hearing his father's voice calling him?
I think so.
Campbell interprets this as a manifestation of the Oedipus complex, the son's unconscious rivalry with the father for the mother's love.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
It's a little unsettling to think that our dreams could reveal such deep-seated psychological complexes.
It can be.
Yeah.
But Campbell emphasizes that recognizing and integrating these shadow elements, as he calls them, is essential for personal growth. He writes, it is by going down into the abyss that we recover the treasures of life. Where you stumble, there lies your treasure.
Wow. Yeah. So facing these darker aspects of ourselves is actually a necessary part of the hero's journey, both in myth and in our own lives.
Absolutely.
Wow.
The hero often has to confront their fears, their weaknesses, and even their inner demons before they can achieve victory and transformation.
That's a powerful idea.
Yeah.
It suggests that true heroism isn't about being perfect or flawless. But about being willing to face our own darkness and emerge stronger on the other side. So it's not about being perfect. It's about overcoming challenges.
Yeah.
And this brings us to one of the key elements of the hero's journey, the call to adventure.
Right.
All right, let's dive into that.
Sure.
What does this call look like, both in myths and in our own lives?
Well, Campbell describes it as an invitation to leave behind the familiar and venture into the unknown. It can take many forms. A sudden crisis, a chance encounter, a dream, or even a nagging feeling that something is missing in our lives.
So it's not always a dramatic, life-altering event. It could be something subtle.
Yeah.
A whisper from our subconscious urging us to change course.
That's right.
Wow.
Campbell uses the fairy tale of the princess and the frog to illustrate this. The princess loses her golden ball in a dark forest and meets a frog who offers to retrieve it in exchange for her friendship.
I remember that story.
Yeah.
It always seemed a bit strange to me as a child. What's the deeper meaning there?
Think about the symbolism. The dark forest represents the unknown. The well symbolizes the depths of the unconscious. And the frog.
Yeah.
Well,
what about the frog?
He's a rather unconventional guide. Embodying the unexpected nature of the call to adventure.
So he's sort of pushing her out of her comfort zone. And the golden ball. What does that represent?
It could represent the princess's lost innocence. Her longing for something more.
Yeah.
Or even a spark of her true potential that she needs to reclaim.
That's a beautiful interpretation.
Yeah.
It suggests that the call is often about reconnecting with something essential that we've lost or forgotten.
Exactly.
So sometimes it's about going back and rediscovering something.
Right.
And Campbell points out that these calls to adventure can appear in all sorts of guises. He shares the Arapaho myth of the girl who climbs a tree to catch a porcupine and ends up in the heavens.
Or the young man who dreams of sheepland and a strange woman pointing the way. Or even the young girl's dream of the Black Knight.
Oh, wow.
A symbol of the unknown. Perhaps even death.
So the call to adventure can be a literal journey, a symbolic quest, or even a message from our subconscious urging us to grow and evolve.
Precisely.
So there are many different ways that this call can manifest.
And the way we respond to that call shapes the course of our journey. Some of us embrace the call with enthusiasm, while others resist it out of fear or uncertainty.
And what about those who refuse the call? What are the consequences of ignoring this invitation to adventure?
Campbell argues that refusing the call can lead to stagnation, frustration, and even a sense of meaninglessness in life.
Wow, that's pretty heavy.
It's like turning away from our own potential and choosing to remain stuck in a rut.
Are there any examples of this in mythology?
He gives the example of King Minos from Greek mythology.
King Minos.
He was given a sacred bull by Poseidon. But instead of sacrificing it as promised, kept it for himself.
Oh, wow.
This refusal to honor the call led to chaos and imbalance in his kingdom.
So he clung to the gift.
Right.
The symbol of divine power and favor.
Yeah.
Instead of sacrificing it for the greater good.
Right.
And that ended up backfiring on him.
And this act of hoarding, this refusal to surrender to a higher purpose, ultimately brought about his downfall.
So he essentially brought about his own downfall by refusing the call.
It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of clinging to the familiar and resisting the call to grow and evolve.
I can see how that applies to our own lives as well.
Right.
Sometimes we hold on to things, whether it's a job or a relationship or a belief system that no longer serves us.
Exactly.
Because we're afraid to let go.
And this fear of letting go, of stepping into the unknown, can prevent us from experiencing the fullness of life.
Okay.
And fulfilling our true potential.
But refusing the call isn't always a negative thing, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's necessary to retreat inward for a period of introspection and self-discovery.
That's a good point.
Right?
Campbell acknowledges that there are times when withdrawing from the world can be beneficial.
Okay.
Think about yogic practices or the lives of artists who deliberately isolate themselves to cultivate their creativity.
That makes sense.
Right.
I'm also thinking about the story of Prince Ajaman and Princess Budur from the 1001 Nights that Campbell mentions.
Right.
They both refused to marry.
Right.
Choosing to remain in their own prisons, yet fate intervenes, and they find each other anyway.
That's a fascinating example.
Yeah.
It suggests that even when we try to resist the call, there may be a higher power, or perhaps our own subconscious working to guide us towards our destiny.
That's a cool thought. So it's not always about actively pursuing the adventure. Sometimes it finds us even when we try to hide from it.
It seems that way.
Wow.
But whether we embrace the call with enthusiasm or try to resist it, one thing is certain. The hero's journey is a powerful and transformative process that can lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
This is all incredibly insightful.
Yeah.
So what happens when the hero does answer the call? So what kind of challenges and transformations await them on the path ahead?
Right.
We left off talking about the call to adventure and those who refuse the call.
Right.
What happens when the hero actually answers the call?
Yeah.
What challenges await them?
Well, once the hero commits to the journey, they enter the realm of the unknown.
Okay.
Campbell calls this stage the belly of the whale.
Oh, wow.
It signifies a symbolic death and rebirth.
The belly of the whale.
Yeah.
That sounds intense. It makes me think of Jonah being swallowed by the whale.
Exactly. It's about surrendering to the unknown.
Okay.
Facing our fears and letting go of what we think we know.
So kind of a rebirth then.
The hero leaves behind their old identity and their comfort zone, entering a world of darkness and uncertainty.
Campbell says, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek, right?
Yes.
So it's about confronting those dark, hidden parts of ourselves, the shadow elements we discussed earlier.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's in those depths, that darkness, that the hero begins their transformation.
Okay.
They face tests, encounter allies, and battle inner demons.
So it's in this belly of the whale
that
they go through this transformation.
Yeah.
So this is where we get into the second stage of the Monomyth initiation. This is where the real action happens.
Yes. Think of it as a series of trials and triumphs.
Okay.
The hero encounters challenges that push them to their limits, forcing them to grow and evolve.
So they're really tested here.
Campbell breaks the stage down into several key steps.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, there's the road of trials.
Okay, the road of trials.
Yeah.
What is that?
The hero faces obstacles and temptations, testing their strength, courage, and resolve.
So it's really kind of testing their commitment to this path.
It's a process of refinement where they shed their old self and develop the skills and qualities necessary to succeed in their quest.
So it's not about avoiding challenges. It's about confronting them head on.
Right.
And learning from them. They're growing through these challenges.
And along the way, the hero often encounters what Campbell calls the meeting with the goddess.
Well, that sounds intriguing.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
This represents the encounter with a nurturing, feminine energy that guides and supports the hero.
Okay.
It can be a literal goddess, a wise woman, or even a symbolic representation of the hero's own intuition or inner wisdom.
Oh, that's interesting. So it could be an actual person or it could be something internal.
Right.
So it's about connecting with a source of love, support, and inspiration that helps the hero stay on track.
Precisely.
Okay, so they get this support from the goddess.
But the journey isn't all sunshine and roses.
Oh, no.
The hero also faces temptation.
Ooh, That sounds dangerous. What kind of temptations?
This is where the hero is confronted with their deepest fears and desires, testing their commitment to the journey.
Okay.
Think of Odysseus and the Sirens.
Okay, Odysseus and the Sirens.
Yeah, their seductive songs represented the allure of instant gratification and the temptation to stray from the path.
He had himself tied to the mast of his ship to resist their call. Right?
Exactly. He knew the danger of succumbing to temptation. It's a reminder that we all face distractions and seductive forces that can lead us astray.
And the hero has to have the strength to resist those temptations. It takes strength and willpower to stay focused on our goals.
Yeah.
Especially when faced with alluring alternatives.
Absolutely.
So Odysseus tied himself up.
Right.
To avoid temptation.
And then comes a pivotal moment.
Okay, what's that?
The atonement with the father.
That sounds pretty heavy.
Yep.
What does that involve?
It's about confronting the authority figure.
Okay.
The embodiment of the old order.
Okay.
Think of it as challenging limiting beliefs, breaking free from societal expectations, or even rebelling against a tyrannical force.
So it's not necessarily about a literal father,
right?
But more about challenging any authority that might be holding us back.
Exactly.
Whether that's internal or external.
It's about claiming our own power and stepping into our true potential.
Oh, wow.
Campbell uses the example of Jesus being tempted by the devil in the wilderness.
Okay, so that's like a classic example of resisting temptation.
Right.
So it's about resisting those external forces that try to control and manipulate us.
Okay.
It's about making a conscious choice to align ourselves with our own values.
Yeah.
And to follow our own path.
That's really resonating with me.
Yeah.
I can think of times in my own life when I've had to confront authority figures.
Right.
Or challenge beliefs that no longer served me. It's not always easy.
Right.
But it's essential for growth.
Absolutely.
So it's another example of going through a challenge to come out stronger on the other side.
And it's through these challenges, these confrontations, that the hero undergoes a profound transformation.
Okay.
Campbell calls this apotheosis.
Apotheosis. That sounds pretty grand. What does that entail?
It's a moment of spiritual awakening.
Okay.
A transcendence of limitations, a connection to a higher purpose.
So kind of reaching a higher level of understanding.
Think of Buddha achieving enlightenment under the Bodhi tree.
Okay, so that's like a classic example of apotheosis.
Yeah.
So it's about reaching a new level of awareness,
right,
understanding, and connection with the universe.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It's a peak experience.
Okay.
A moment of profound insight and transformation.
Wow.
And it leads to the ultimate boon.
The ultimate boon. That sounds like the reward for all that hard work.
It is. This is where the hero achieves their goal.
Okay.
Gains the treasure they sought. Or receives the wisdom they've been searching for.
So all of their struggles have led them to this point.
It's the climax of the story.
Okay.
The moment of victory and fulfillment.
It makes me think of those classic fairy tales where the hero slays the dragon,
right,
rescues the princess, and returns home a triumphant champion.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the classic example of the ultimate boon.
But it's important to remember that the journey's not over yet.
Oh, really?
The hero still has to return to the ordinary world and share their newfound knowledge and wisdom.
So the hero's journey isn't just about personal transformation.
Right.
It's about bringing back something valuable to benefit the community.
Precisely.
So they've grown.
Yeah.
And now they have to share that growth with the world.
The hero's return.
Okay.
The integration of their experience into the world is crucial for the revitalization of society.
So this return is really important.
Right.
Okay. So we've journeyed through departure and initiation. That brings us to the third stage of the monomyth, the return.
Yeah.
What does this stage entail?
Right.
What challenges does the hero face as they try to reintegrate into the ordinary world?
Right.
So we just finished talking about the hero going through the departure and initiation.
Right.
Facing those trials.
Yeah.
Achieving the ultimate boon. Now they're returning to the ordinary world.
Right.
What's next?
The return can be surprisingly difficult.
Oh, really?
The hero has been transformed by their experiences.
Okay.
And they may struggle to fit back into their old life.
Oh,
their old world may seem small and limiting compared to the vast realms they've explored.
So they've grown so much.
Right.
That their old life doesn't really fit them anymore.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
It's like returning from an incredible adventure and finding that everyday life seems dull in comparison.
Yeah, you've seen so much more.
Right.
So it's hard to go back to the normal day-to-day.
Campbell calls this the refusal of the return.
Okay.
It's the temptation to cling to the peak experience, to stay in the magical realm, rather than face the complexities of ordinary life.
So they don't want to return.
Right.
Like Prometheus, who, according to some versions of the myth, chose to endure eternal punishment, rather than reveal the secret of Zeus's downfall.
Yes. It's as if he was so dedicated to his mission, so attached to the knowledge he gained, that he couldn't let go.
So how does the hero move past this refusal and successfully reintegrate into their world?
Sometimes it takes a magic flight.
A magic flight.
The hero has to escape from the supernatural realm, leaving behind its enchantments and challenges. Imagine Odysseus fleeing from the wrath of Poseidon after blinding his son, the Cyclops.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a dramatic escape then.
Right.
Like they have to shake off the remnants of the magical realm and find their way back to reality.
Exactly.
And sometimes they need rescue from without.
Right.
Okay, what's that?
They need help from external forces to make it back to the ordinary world.
So they don't always do it alone.
Right.
It's a reminder that we can rely on others for support.
Absolutely.
Especially when we feel lost or overwhelmed.
Yes. And once they've navigated these challenges, they reach a crucial point. The crossing of the return threshold.
The crossing of the return threshold.
They step back into the world they left behind.
Okay.
But they're not the same person anymore.
Yeah, they've changed.
Right.
They've been transformed by their experiences, and they bring back a new perspective.
Right.
New skills.
Yeah.
And perhaps most important,
new wisdom.
Yes. Campbell describes the hero as a master of two worlds.
Oh, wow. Master of two worlds.
They can navigate both the mundane and the magical.
Okay.
They operate in the everyday world.
Yeah.
While retaining a connection to those deeper mysteries they encountered on their journey.
So they're able to live in both worlds.
Right.
It's like they can bridge the gap between the ordinary and the extraordinary.
Precisely.
That's pretty incredible.
And all of this leads to the final stage.
Okay.
The ultimate goal of the hero's journey. Freedom to live.
Freedom to live. That sounds wonderful. What does it mean in the context of the hero's journey?
It's about living authentically.
Okay.
Embracing the fullness of life. And sharing our gifts with the world.
So it's about using what you've learned.
Campbell writes, the goal of the hero's journey is not to slay the dragon, but to become the dragon.
That's a powerful image.
Yeah.
It suggests that the hero doesn't just conquer their challenges.
Right.
They integrate them.
It's becoming stronger and more complete.
Exactly.
So it's not about getting rid of the challenges.
Right.
It's about incorporating them into yourself.
It's about embodying the qualities we once feared or rejected, merging the light and shadow within us.
Okay.
And becoming whole.
It's like the hero returns.
Yeah.
Not just with treasure or wisdom,
right,
but with a greater understanding of themselves and their place in the world.
Right.
And Campbell believes this journey isn't a one-time event.
It's a cyclical process we can experience again and again throughout our lives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So every challenge, every obstacle, every opportunity for growth can be seen as a new call to adventure, a chance to embark on a new leg of this journey.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
And as we conclude this deep dive into the hero with 1,000 faces, I think it's important to remember that this framework isn't just about understanding myths or stories. It's about understanding ourselves.
Yes. Campbell's work invites us to see our own lives as heroic adventures, filled with challenges, transformations, and ultimately the potential for profound meaning and purpose.
He encourages us to recognize those calls to adventure in our own lives.
Yeah.
Those moments that shake us out of our routines and invite us to step into the unknown.
And to have the courage to answer those calls.
He reminds us that the hero's journey isn't about slaying literal dragons.
Yeah.
It's about confronting those inner dragons, our fears, our limiting beliefs, those things that hold us back from living fully and authentically.
So it's about pushing ourselves to grow and evolve.
And remember, the hero's journey is not for the faint of heart. It's a path filled with risks, challenges, and sometimes even setbacks.
But there are great rewards.
But it also offers incredible rewards.
The reward of self-discovery, growth, and a deeper connection to our own hearts and to the world around us. So it's worth it.
And who knows, maybe by embarking on our own heroic adventures, we can even inspire others to do the same.
This has been an incredible exploration of the hero with 1,000 faces.
It has.
If you're intrigued by these ideas, We highly recommend checking out the book yourself.
It's a journey worth taking.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
This is Alex and Eve. Until next time.
Keep exploring.
Keep growing.
And keep living your own hero's journey.